So how many case studies today? 4. Okay. Anyone? 6 case study? All 6 case study? Nice. What about the rest? 5. 6. आपने 6 कर ली? Nice, nice. Complete all 6. Very nice. Okay, so I think the first case study is about the attitude change. We included 2 case studies from this year's paper. How did you find it? Easy, difficult? Was it easy? Was it difficult?
Discuss the options. तो उसमें मेरिट इवैल्यूएट the options जो है मेरिट इवैल्यूएट डिस्कस the option में हमेशा
तो क्या लिखोगे? कितनी बार आ गया ऐसे ऑप्शंस? हाँ, तो क्या लिखोगे? क्या लिखना चाहिए?
डिस्कस द ऑप्शन में मैं ऑप्शन को ही इवैल्यूएट कर रहा हूँ, उसी के अंदर मतलब वो टेबल जो है वो मैं बनाया।
ठीक है, बाकी लोग? बाकी लोग? अरे बताइए। हाँ? This year's case study, how did you find them? No response. ये जो बैच है ना, ये गूंगा बहरा बैच है। ठीक है, ऐसे ही मैं इसको याद करूंगा हमेशा। हाँ जी सर, आज का ही था। हाँ, ये थैंक यू। So this batch is bit peculiar, you know, and you don't know you have suffered because of that. Okay, up to you guys. Okay, I think I should start. So the first case study is about changing of the attitude. Okay, so this year's case study, the one that I have given you in this test are quite easy. Okay. Okay, so the first case study is about the change of attitude. Okay, so let us look at the first question. That is it ethical to impose practices that conflict with deeply held beliefs, even if they are intended to benefit the community? So what are the ethical aspects that are there that we are looking into this question? Lack of? Okay. From the perspective of government, what are the ethical considerations that are ethical issue the government is facing? Authoritarianism. Okay, so maybe you need to respect their autonomy, because if you want to impose your practices, they may take the form of cultural imperialism. Okay, they may take the form of cultural imperialism. That is also important. And you need to respect their right of self-determination also, because you need not be paternalistic all the time. You understand paternalistic? That you decide what is good for them. That is how. Okay, so basically paternalism is something that we should vary of, because that is how racism was justified. White people, they will say that we are having better mental faculties, and that is why we should take that decision for you, because you are not capable of taking that decision. So there is always a problem with respect to paternalism, that lot many heinous crime have been justified in the name of paternalism. So we should be wary of that. At the same time, we should work towards persuasion, not paternalism but persuasion. We should persuade them, we should communicate our facts, we should try to change their attitude. That is what we should intend here. Okay, at the same time, government has the responsibility of beneficence, because ultimately the government will be held responsible. Beneficence. Okay, the principle of beneficence that is there. So that is the ethical aspect. So when we are dealing with such issues, the principle of beneficence, along with autonomy, along with the persuasion, should guide you. Ultimately, the force measure should be the matter of last resort, and you should not be shy away from imposing at times, because you talk about triple talaq, you talk about temple anti-reforms. So there have been cases where government had to intervene. So that is the middle path that you need to do. In Trial Panchsheel, we were able to draw the middle path in a way that whether we should treat them as a museum species, or we should, impose our pattern of belief on them. So Nehru talked about tribal punishment. So at times there may be a middle path, but if the things are against humanity, things are against basic human values, then we should not be shy away from imposing also. That is what you need to write, because under welfare state you also have responsibility for that. So ultimately that is the red line that you should always talk about. Of course, the path has to be about persuasion and all these things you should try always first, but ultimately you should not be, you should not shy away from using the hard measures also, okay, because if it goes against basic human dignity. And you can give the examples of untouchability, temple anti-reforms, Sabarimala temple for example, and so many cases are there. Ultimately constitutional morality is something that you have to uphold. Understood? Okay, so the second part is, what are the ethical complications of a top-down approach? So ethical complications are that it may not be sustainable in the long run. It is about letter versus spirit. Ultimately, you want people to understand the rationale, because it may not be sustainable over the long run. You might face backlash, you might face resistance. That is what you can write. And also, a system of fines, it may create more inequality, because the vulnerable sections, may be at the wrong side of it. A system of fines may create a sense of inequality and discrimination, because it might disproportionately impact poor and vulnerable section of the society. Poor and vulnerable section of the society. Okay, so that is what, it can lead to discrimination and inequality, because it might affect disproportionately the poor and vulnerable section. And ultimately erosion of trust is there, because because if you are doing something in a top-down fashion, you are not actually treating them as partner in governance. Okay, you are again having paternalistic approach. And you can also talk about here a sense of respect for their rationality, that Kant has always discussed, that we should respect their rationality, we should respect them as human being, and that is why we should try to get their consent. Because when we lie to them in a way, or when we try to give our forced consent to them, I mean when we try to get a forced consent, that is the problem basically, because in that we are not respecting their rationality. So that is what perhaps you can write. So that is the ethical implication that is there in top-down measures. Okay, so I think these two parts are fairly easy. Yes. So now let us discuss that what can be done to change the attitude. Okay. So here we will discuss this thing in a much more comprehensive manner, because the same template, whatever we are going to discuss, you can use that in terms of fighting patriarchy, for example. You can use that in terms of, let's say, having more environmental awareness. You can use that to generate more electoral participation on the part of people so that they can vote. Okay, so we will be actually having a template. Now I will be discussing that through various headings and subheadings, what all of you should be writing. But that structure you can use whenever you want to actually raise awareness, ensure that attitude change, etc. Okay, so that is what we are going to discuss. So before I discuss that, so what are the broad categories of things that we should think? Suppose you are the DM and you want to change the attitude of the people, attitude of the people who are living in your area. So what are the broad things that should be there? Let us think from the broad perspective. Broad perspective, bataiye. Okay, love, disgust and pride, basically the invoking of emotion. So that is a strategy basically. So let me just give you a broad macro perspective. Perhaps we should make a plan. Yes, just like management of ethics, just like we did in organization, just like we did in just like we did in so many things. Yes, so we should first either make a plan. And then we should prepare the message. Okay, what should be the component of that message? The pride, disgust and love is the component of the message. Okay, so that is one part, that what will be the content of the message. Then what will be the different mediums, because mediums, you understand mediums? Media. Okay, so basically how you will be transmitting that message. Message is content and medium is transmission. How you will be ensuring the transmission of that message. Okay, that is third part. Another part is, since people are involved, it will always involve capacity building. Capacity building of the people who will be taking care of the implementation of the plan. That is what we have always invoked. Yes, capacity building of the people. Who are the personnel who will be actually, doing all the things, doing all the awareness generation activity and whatever. Understood? And then monitoring and evaluation, because at times all these IEC campaign falls flat because lot many things only happen in paper only, not in words. Understood? So if we are having a broad perspective, then A, we should make a plan. B, we should talk about the content of the message. What should be the content of the message? C, we should talk about the mediums, how we will be disseminating that message. Fourth, perhaps we should talk about the people, who are the people whom we should involve, and we should take care of their capacity building, etc. And then monitoring and evaluation is also important exercise. Understood? So now can you think how broadly we are thinking, and this framework you can use in basically any of the aspect. So now let us just write down. अब आप लिखेंगे थोड़ी देर, and then we will discuss everything later. Okay, so let us talk about, just generate the points now. I will explain everything later on. We will first write everything. Okay, so develop detailed IEC plans. लिखिए, develop detailed IEC plan, information, education, communication. Develop detailed IEC plan for the district. Includes annual calendar of activities. Develop detailed IEC plans for the district. That will include an annual calendar of activities, enrollment of IEC consultants at district level, professional expertise you will be hiring, IEC consultants at district level, enrollment of IEC consultant, professional help at district level social media engagement, active user platforms like Facebook, X, WhatsApp. Okay, so that is a broader level. Then let us talk about capacity building. Capacity building both at district level and block level. Capacity building both at district level and block level. Training of village motivators / स्वच्छाग्रही, सत्याग्रही की तरह ही स्वच्छाग्रही. Training of village motivators / स्वच्छाग्रही / PRIs / teachers, etc. on community-led total sanitation approaches. On community-led total sanitation approaches. On community-led total sanitation approaches. Then you talk about monitoring and evaluation. It will include sensitivity training, role-playing method, everything. Capacity building will include other keywords, sensitivity training, role-playing methods. Okay, you can write those keywords also. Now, monitoring and evaluation. GPS tracking of Swachhta Rath, chariot. GPS tracking of Swachhta van, if you want to write, not Rath, van also you can write. GPS tracking of Swachhta Rath. Photographs of hoardings and wall paintings. Photographs of hoardings and wall paintings with timestamp and lat-long stamp, latitude and longitude stamp. Photographs of hoardings and wall paintings with timestamp and lat-long stamp coordinates. Triggering and Nigarani activities, another point. Triggering and Nigarani activities. Triggering, normal trigger. Triggering and Nigarani activities, monitoring. In Hindi it is called Nigarani. Triggering and Nigarani activities. Swachhagrahi to undertake triggering. What is triggering? A participatory rural appraisal. Triggering is participatory rural appraisal followed by a guided conversation. Participatory rural appraisal, this keyword is very, very important. Participatory rural appraisal followed by a guided conversation with the members of the community. Triggering exercise is a participatory rule appraisal followed by a guided conversation with the members of the community. Nigrani includes an early morning visit to common OD spots, open defecation spots. Nigrani includes an early morning visit to common OD spots as follow-up of triggering activities. So that you reinforce the message. Nigrani includes an early morning visit to common OD spots to follow up after triggering for the reinforcement of the message. Just like in Panchayat web series that you have seen, a district DM Saiva comes and everyone is going for monitoring, the content part, message content, Easy to use materials like flip charts, leave behind pamphlets, audio visual material / Mobisodes, mobile plus episode, Mobisodes that you can circulate on WhatsApp, Mobisodes. It will talk about ill effect of lack of sanitation, facts of Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, toilet technologies, success stories, process of implementation, invoking love, disgust and pride. Process of implementation, invoking love, disgust and pride. Then what we will be doing? Songs and drama activities, local artists, singers, natak mandalis. Songs and drama activities, local artists, singers, natak mandalis, performers from the third gender. Local artists, singers, natak mandalis, performers from the third gender. Next point is wall writing / painting, including elements of surprise, humor. Wall paintings / writing, elements of surprise, humor, emotive appeals. Then Mela, next point is Mela / group meetings. District must celebrate small victories. Such as ODF, Declaration of Village. District must celebrate small victories such as ODF, Declaration of Villages, through Gaurav Yatras, like processions. Gaurav Yatras, Ratri Chaupals, Melas, special Gram Sabhas to honor local champions. Ratri Chaupal, Melas, special Gram Sabhas to honor local champions. Creating a healthy competition between villages. Involving local community leaders like Sarpanch, school teachers, PHC doctors, leaders across faith, across religion. leaders across faith, local sports and entertainment celebrities, local sports and entertainment celebrities, involving local community leaders like sarpanch, school teachers, PSC doctors, leaders across faith, local sports and entertainment celebrities. Next point is hoarding and banners to create buzz around Swachh Bharat implementation. Hoardings and banners to create buzz around Swachh Bharat mission implementation. Appealing to human emotions like love for one's family, caring for one's children, social status and esteem, exhibitions to help spread best practices and share success stories. Exhibitions to help spread best practices and share success stories. Next point is TV radio, local cable TV channels, community radios for contextualized messages as per local culture, community radios for contextual message as per local culture, leveraging regional units of Government of India media unit like Songs and Drama Division, Doordarshan, DD News. Okay, then convergence, basically the other people whom we should rope in. Schools, Swachhata in schools. So teachers, they should advocate for Swachhata. Students should persuade their parents to build and use toilets at their home. Students should persuade their parents. Sankalp Patras, rallies, Nukkad Nataks, letter writing campaign, wherein school children write letters to their parents. Sanitation club, so they are measures at the school's level. Okay, so basically sanitation club, we have discussed that. You can use that green club, electoral club, whatever club you use as per the demand of the question. Sankalp Patras are promising letter. Basically the students will take those Sankalp Patras at home and parents will sign them. It may be for afforestation, a plantation, it may be to participate in the voting, something like that. Okay, who are Swachhagrahi? Swachhagrahi are basically the people who will be participating in that. They are local ASHA worker, ANMs, teachers, doctor and staff, basically all the people who will be participating. We are calling them, just like Gandhiji called Satyagrahi, we are calling them Swachhagrahi. Understood? So that is what we will be doing in this case. And this is the van that you are discussing about. This van monitoring will be done by GPS, whether it is actually traveling or not. And the evocation, inki sehat ke liye karo darwaja ban. So that is the emotions of protection for family. The emotions are invoked. Humor is invoked. मेरे पास तुम्हारे पास क्या है? बंगला है, गाड़ी है. तुम्हारे पास क्या? मेरे पास शौचालय है. Okay, and this is the outreach program that is there. Okay, that we are talking about, that the people triggering activities. People will go and explain and invoke all these things. Okay, so now all of you have got lot of yes, Anganwadis, we have included as Swachhagrahi as that only. Swachhagrahi is a group of people, collectively we are calling them like COVID warriors. It is a name like that. Okay, so we are calling them. Understood? So now, whenever you write this answer, you can use them. You can use this template as per this demand. Environmental activist or whatever the name, green soldiers. Perhaps you can talk. If it is for the purpose of environmental conservation or afforestation or plantations. Okay. So basically, the point is you must segregate your point of view. So whatever you want to communicate as per content, that should be part of the content. Okay, that will target their belief pattern, their cognitive aspect. Another part would be the mechanism. How would you be doing it? So basically, different mediums that are there, and after that, another part is monitoring and evaluation, and at broad level, you are hiring professional consultant, you are making a detailed calendar of activities and everything. Okay, so that is how you will be targeting this all exercise. So in this exercise, monitoring and evaluation and creating accountability mechanisms are important, because usually the question is, after initial enthusiasm subsides, how will you ensure that things are functioning? So for that, you have to ensure accountability mechanism. For that, you need to have community-led sanitation approach. So in whatever you are writing, just write community-led approach, because community-led approach, it is not administration-led approach, it is not district collector-led approach, it is not, there is difference. It is community-led approach, and district magistrate is partner in that. Okay, the approach is different. Approach is that people are leading the change. Okay, so that if people are leading that, maybe you will be transferred, does not matter, but people are leading it. So that is the attitude that you want to inculcate here. Okay. So that is what, so all of you now have understood. Okay, so you can use this template and other things also. Okay, so this part is done. So let us look at this question, next question. This year's question, okay. So options available, suitable action and potential, okay. So let us discuss the action first. So what are the things that a district magistrate should target here? Okay. So बताइए. What are the things that we need to target here? तेज बोल लो यार थोड़ा. Balancing the interest. Okay. How would you structure your answer? How would you structure? I think the problem is water crisis, so it has to be long-term and short-term measures. Okay, so that is the one broader structure that is there. You must talk about the long-term measures, because it is about water crisis. Done. Then now let us talk about the short-term measures. Okay, so what are the things that we want to achieve here? Consensus. Perhaps you should try to build the consensus, because again, we are dealing with an environmental crisis, and you cannot, deal with the environmental crisis until and unless you have people participation. We have discussed that. It will, the top-down approach will never work in this case. Understood? After that? Trust of farmers. Okay, yes. Then? Okay. मजा नहीं आ रहा है मुझे. Yes, that is there. Immediate need to handle the water crisis is there. Then, but what are we addressing here? Thing is not coming that I want to hear. Huh? Equitable distribution. Perception. Apology. Okay, so see, whatever we are doing, one thing is that the administration just cannot leave the farmers like that. Okay, whatever the measure, the curves that you are putting, it cannot be the case that you are just talking with a stick only. As in the case of environmental question, we discussed about the facilitatory approach also. So the purpose here is to ensure that water efficiency should be there. Water use efficiency should be there. So perhaps we can talk about micro irrigation here. Perhaps we can talk about facilitation in a way that you are ensuring water use efficiency. Because this is how you may take them on board with you, that yes, we will try to help you, through all these methods, whatever methods are there with the government, subsidies, because the programs are there. So many programs are there to help the people in the region. But at the same time, we need your cooperation. So until you have this attitude of helping the people first, you cannot hope that, they will just abide by everything, because their livelihood is also at the stake. So that is the first thing that is to be there. Okay. Another part is you must communicate the whatever exercises you are doing. It has to be done through a committee-based approach. It cannot be the case that you are making the decision and everyone is implementing the decision. It should not be the case, because they are important stakeholders. Farmers are important stakeholders. Industry people are also important stakeholders. So both these parties should know what is happening. There should not be any mistrust that, oh, we are asked to do this, we are asked to do this. Perhaps, so that is important. So perhaps when you are having this meeting with all the stakeholders, and perhaps you can always communicate that all the stakeholders basically should prioritize water use efficiency. The industry should also employ all these methods to ensure water use efficiency. Plus, farmers should also employ the methods for water use efficiency. Understood? So that is very important, that participation should come for that. And you should facilitate in that. So how many of you thought from this perspective, facilitation? Very good, because this is very, very important. Okay, and after another thing is that because overall water budgeting has to be done. Water is very much limited. Then you can always talk about the prioritization, that which things you should prioritize, which things you should not prioritize. For example, talk about in Delhi, when the water crisis was there, they circulated that there should not be car wash. The people should not wash their car with something like that. In service center also, they put such provision. So you can always prioritize the water uses there. That that these are the things that we should prioritize. These are the things that are banned. So perhaps you can do the water budgeting from that perspective in terms of prioritization for which purpose you need water at the earliest in terms of essentiality, and how you can manage that through water use efficiency. So that is actually very, very important. Understood? And in all of that, participation is very, very important. Participation of the people, the community awareness program is very, very important. And of course, long-term solution will always be about rainwater harvesting, water recycling, wastewater recycling basically, okay, groundwater recharge, that should be there, all those things that you can write from GS3. Don't shy away from writing those things as if you may think we are writing GS3. No, that is required here. What else you will write? Question is like that only. Don't shy away from writing all those things. Maybe you can use some good case studies also, like Telangana government has Mission Kakatiya, one of the best practices that is there. So some best practices you can always quote. You can always, you can always also discuss the attitude change of the people here, because community need to participate in terms of water conservation. So whatever we discuss in terms of attitude change, that also you can include here. Folk songs, Natak Mandali, whatever, the human chain rally, Sankalp Patra, whatever we discuss, you can have a semblance of that, at least if not all, at least some part of it you can include in terms of attitude change of the people, because ultimately, again, it has to be a community-led approach. That is the keyword you need to use. Whenever you are targeting such problem, don't write district administration-led approach. It will always be community-led approach, and where district magistrate would only be a facilitator. That is what you need to write. Examiner should have this objective. He should know this, just by reading through your answer, that that it will always be bottom-up approach that will work, and you will only be a facilitator when you are doing that. Of course, you will be a leader and everything, but facilitation. Everyone will be on board. So here, some part of that argument, Natak Mandali, Anganwadi, Swachhagari, maybe we can talk about, Jalagrahi or something like that, okay? Something like that. So we can use those keywords, and then, all the people, or Karnataka, whatever we can include for the community-led approaches. Understood? So that is what is desired in this answer. And you can always talk about the good best practices that are there. Best practices that are. So options, what are the options that are there? That either you may impose uniform water use restrictions, you can implement differential water allocations, okay, or you can introduce water saving technologies, negotiate with the farmers, or redirect water resources from non-essential uses. Now, the purpose I've included these options are so that you understand that that is another clever way of writing options. That is basically different single point from your course of action. Basically, you will be doing almost all of this. Understood? So that is how also you can generate more option. Understood? That in A you can talk about, you will simply talking about water saving techniques and you will forget about it. Okay? And then another option can be, you will redirect the water from the non-essential uses. But your overall approach can be a combination of all these factors. Understood? Of course, not all 4-5 options can be like that. I have included that for the purpose of explanation. But in actual exam condition, the options will be that you are doing what you are doing, you will be not heading to them, or you will be heading to them, not to industrialist. Option will be like that, and some of the option will be from this. Understood? This part. Any complications? Any complications? All the options will not be like this only in actual exam condition. Only from the purpose of explanation, I have included these options. Understood? And they are nothing but we are cherry picking one idea from our course of action, and we are using it as the option. That is another clever way of generating option. Even when you are stuck that I don't know what need to be done, then just generate 1 point from the course of action and write that I will do this. For example, I will just give you an example in the case study. In the case study of Sand Mafia, Sunil was there, family is threatened and everything. So one option is that you will simply seek transfer, you will simply talk to boss, all these things, and you will simply keep on doing the raid. Another option is that you will simply keep on doing it, and you are not mentioning about family. Another option can be that you will protect the family. You are not mentioning any other thing. So basically, a partial option can be a partial course of action can be your one of the option, and that UPSC also does. If you just look at the various of the option that UPSC generate, if you just study that very carefully, you will understand that UPSC also does that. Okay, so that is another way of generating option in case you are stuck that how to generate option apart from resigning, seeking transfer, consultation with the senior and doing accordingly, whatever the generic template we have discussed. Understood this part? Please go through it and understand. I think in one of the question of the transportation, the strike was there, bus driver compensation, the person died. We included one of the option was consultation through media, committee based. In actual course of action, we will be doing all of it. We will be instituting a committee to find the faults and continuity negligence of every department. We may also talk with media also to build pressure, everything. So in actual course of action, we may employ all those methods. But in option, we can talk about one option only, that perhaps this is only what we will do. So that is a smart way of generating option, if you are stuck. Understood everyone? Any problem? Any problem with this? Online walo understood? Okay. So this is what we should do in terms of immediate action, that equitable water allocation should be there, dialogue with stakeholder, short-term measure, temporary subsidize, efficiency techniques that are there, facilitate, basically facilitation should be the broader word, subsidy is one part of it, okay, and then community awareness program, community-led, water conservation approaches, and the long-term solution. Long-term solution, how many of you missed on long-term solution? Anyone who missed out on long-term solution? No? Everyone wrote long-term solution? Okay, very good then. पक्का लिखा, झूठ तो नहीं बोल रहा कोई? बताओ कोई झूठ तो नहीं बोल रहा? अरे वाह, शाबाश। सर तो प्राउड सा मूवमेंट दे रहे हो आप जाते हैं। आप भी क्या याद रखोगे सर? हम झूठ बोल देते हैं आपके खातिर। Okay, very good. So if you have written long-term solution, then very good. My purpose in terms of how you should structure your thinking, how you should address short-term, long-term. How many of you address this community argument that community should participate and the facilitation part, both the part? Very good. Shabash. Chalo, very nice. Okay, so this is what we should do. The dilemmas are easy. That how to balance competing interests, because in the government institution, those are the biggest dilemmas. We have discussed that. Farmers versus industrialists, common people versus someone, because there are lot many interests to balance. So it will always create dilemma. Then how to enforce regulations without creating law and order situation or without creating tension. That is another administrative dilemma that is there. Understood? Another administrative dilemma that is there. And then economic impact. How to safeguard between environment versus economy. Just like in COVID, we had economy versus people's safety. So that is another conflict of dilemma that is there. And then ethical dilemma would be that how transparently you can do the things, because it may backfire also. People may not understand those things. Environmental sustainability versus immediate needs. Okay, justice and fairness, equity versus equality, something like that. So basically, those are the dilemma that are there. Understood? Any doubt? Any doubt in this? Fairly easy question. I'm not getting your point, Sohani. Please rephrase what you are asking. We will be repeating points only now as copying same option. But in course of action, we are talking about from different perspective. We are elaborating on it. And it will be a combination of that. And also, you will not be writing all these things only. Okay, I think you missed the part where when I said that this is not what you should write. Okay, you should always have one option that you will not do anything. You will keep on doing what you are doing. Or another option will be that you will be sympathetic to the farmer and you will ask industry to close. The two options are very different than what you are doing. So only from the purpose of explanation, I have generated all these options. That is what you need to understand. So in actual exam condition, you will not be writing all the options like this only. I hope I am clear now. So, Hani. Understood? So, that is what we need to do here. You want to note?
Sir, long term is that nudging, using nudging technology.
नजिंग कोई टेक्नोलॉजी नहीं है भाई, नजिंग एक अप्रोच है. डन? डन? Okay. So let us discuss the next question, that is Sneha. Okay, fairly easy question. Again, both the questions are quite easy, in this year's examination. You should do quite good in all these case studies. So, what is the course of action? What is the case about? Case is about conflict of interest only. Okay, so what should Sneha do? All the 6 hours you wrote. Resign also you wrote. Hey Bhagwan. Mechanical application. Third party is very good option, yes. Tell about the course of action, not the all 6 option. Sir, ये हमने रखा, ये हमने लिख दिया. 6 hours. How you can write 6 hours here? Can you resign in this case? Then you should not write 6 hours. How many of you wrote that resignation? Or 6 hours exactly? Hey Bhagwan. काला अक्षर ऐसा ही फील होता है मुझे कभी कभी. ओके 6 hours, I mean you should write that in section A. Is resignation an option here? Would you resign for that, for such trivial thing? Hey Baba, one question is there for resignation that will address the budgetary allocation. One question was there. चलिए बताइए. So what did you do? हाँ ठीक है, क्या यही पूछ रहे हैं? रिकॉर्डिंग खाली सुनाई दिया, उसके बाद वाला समझ में नहीं आया. उसको वैसे ही बोलो जैसे बाकी सब चीजें बोलते हो, बहुत क्लियर. ऐसे ही बोलो उसको भी जो
सर अगर उसके बाद उसका भाई जो एलिजिबल है टेंडर के लिए तो उसको दे दे, तो उसमें कोई उसका रिकॉर्डिंग वगैरह
दे दे. ठीक है, और very good. The disclosure has to be there. Okay, without it, it will not just work. Also, the biggest aspect would be you should recuse. Okay, you should disclose and you should recuse. You should not make the final decision. Okay, and also you cannot blacklist your brother. He is a well-known name, in this field. So the hospital should not be deprived of his services. He may be the best person that is there. Just because he is your brother, he should not suffer because of that. Understood? So in this case, what is important is that you should disclose first that what is the conflict of interest that is there to the ethics committee or the higher management that is there, and you should recuse yourself from the final decision making process, that I will not be making the final decision, because justice should not only be done, it should also seen to be done. The perception is very important to avoid any perception of bias. And also, before a final decision, you should have a fair procurement process. Clear merit-based objective guidelines should be there, okay, and you should make it very objective, with respect to what should be equipment quality, service support, so that the hospital and the customers, they get actually overall value for money. It is not just about the cost, it is about the overall value proposition that someone is doing, okay. And then of course, you can always have a third party. An independent review committee might be there to take the final decision, okay, and so that you have recused yourself. Independent third party will take a decision, and after that you can monitor the adherence to the standards, whether to ensure more accountability. You can double check also for that matter. You can have audit committee with decision making, action auditing. That is what we have to do here. Yes, that is what is desired. And also, best, because the thing is, you must separate your personal bias from the professional thing, because you should approach this proposition from the professional perspective. It may be the case that his proposal is the best proposal. It may be the case. Objectively, it may be the case. The only thing you need to do here is you must recuse yourself. Okay, because that is what is desired in this case. Because otherwise, you will be treating your brother unfairly. You will be treating your organization also unfairly. If you are suppose blacklisting that person, or you are saying that you please don't participate in the tender. How many of you adopted that route? That don't participate in the tender? Okay, मना ही कर दिया आपने. Why? Recuse नहीं, this route. That you are asking your brother not to participate in itself. That is the relinquishing of the interest. One of the R is that. I hope that no one took that route, because that is not a right route to take. Okay, that will be very, very unfair to him, especially when he is so well known in this industry, and if he can provide such things. So that is like not having proper level playing field and everything. Okay, so you must approach it very professionally. That is what you should do. And of course, the argument will be transparency and disclosures, avoiding any unfair exclusion, because you should treat your brother fairly also. Maintain impartiality, because you have recused. Commitment to the hospital interest by ensuring the best possible product is there. And avoiding ethical and reputational risk that might come later on. Understood? So that is what you should do. Okay, so fairly easy question. I don't see any reason that why you should not do great in this question. The arguments are perception, credibility, trust. Those are the most important arguments. Justice should not only be done, but should also seen to be done. Conflict of interest. All those are important keywords that are here that you must address. Understood? So, and another question was that how is medical ethics compromised with vested personal interest? So justice will be harmed. Principle of, if suppose you are taking decision with respect to personal biases only, then you will be not following principle of non-malfeasance and principle of beneficence, because either you will be compromising on the quality of the product that you are getting through tender, because if you are having personal bias, that will be like having low cost ineffective product. Something that we discussed yesterday in terms of pharmaceutical company only. So same argument are there. Same question has been asked. Okay, so non-market accountability, beneficence, everything you need to. You can include more also. I did not include. You can include medical ethics, because everything is compromised if you are not having that thing. If you are not following ethical standards here. Okay, that is also you can write. The Hippocratic Oath, everything basically. Understood? Everything. Yes. क्या बोला?
In the course of action that she would take, we also write about what she would do in her personal capacity to help her brother, like broken arms or really going for financial.
पर्सनल कैपेसिटी में तो ऐसे तो कुछ है, ये सब जो लिखा हुआ है ना. See, this statement that has been written over here. Okay, just let's read this statement. Also, she is aware that her brother's company has been facing some financial difficulties, and big supply order will help him recover. So, and the hospital management trusts her fully and would support any decision of her. Don't you think these two lines are very much similar to the case study that we discussed, that the officer, is expecting the opposition party to come into the power, and that person will reward him. So basically, that is what you can write, that that your intention here is to help the hospital. Your intention here is to ensure level playing field. Your intention here is to get the best deal, that a fair deal that is there. So that is what you need to write here. If your brother gets the tender because of on the fair terms, that is good. If your brother does not get the tender on the fair terms, that is also equally good in this case. And perhaps then you will help her, in case he does not get a tender through fair means, in some other ways, with respect to some other tender, not this. Okay, maybe you can help her, But that is what the intention has to be very much clear, that whatever you are doing to ensure, fairness. You should be fair. That is what fairness means. If you talk about the word fairness, this is exactly the explanation of the fairness, that everyone should get their due. The brother should get their due in terms of equal opportunity. He should also not be treated unfairly just because you are working there. And also, the hospital should also get its due in terms of in terms of the value for money, whatever the money no hospital is spending or the patients are spending. So that is what fairness means. That is what justice means. That you are treating every party very much fairly. Understood? Breach of professional ethics, impartiality, violation of. That is what you can write. Yes, that is what you can write. And you have to recuse. In this case, you have to recuse. You cannot take the decision. Understood? I think we discussed the same case with respect to RTI also, where you were the PIO and you had the direct conflict of interest. There also we recused ourselves. The same approach we will employ here. How many of you took the decision in this case study? You took the decision? No, not recused. Took the decision. How many of you? You took the decision. Why this Kolaveri? अच्छा independent auditor hire कर लिए तो कर दिया. Okay. You should recuse. किसने किया? Anyone who did not recuse herself, himself? Anyone? आपने भी नहीं किया खुद को recuse.
कमेटी के डिसीजन मेकिंग है आप लीडरशिप मतलब मैं ये लिखा कि यूजर जो है वो एक लीडरशिप दिखा सकते हैं लेकिन इस केस में लीडरशिप ये भी बताता है कि आप अपना ड्यूटी जो है फेयरली किए ट्रांसपेरेंटली किए थ्रू वीडियोग्राफी.
Ideally, you should recuse whenever any such, yes, ideally, everywhere. That is what people do. Okay, that is what should be done because whatever committee you make, okay, even though people will always have the suspicion, oh, you must have played some part if you were the part of decision making process. Okay, so that is very, very important. Declaration is a bare minimum that you should do. Okay, that is a bare minimum thing. Recusal is the right thing. Declaration plus recusal, that is the right thing. Resignation and everything you should not do here. Yes. कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ रहा. उससे क्या फर्क पड़ रहा है रिक्यूज करने में? प्राइवेटली ओन्ड है या गवर्नमेंट ओन्ड है, उससे हाउ डज इट मैटर? So private institution में you don't require trust and credibility. Probably what they are saying is that here you can perhaps tinker with the rules. You have more flexibility to do the things, and that is why management will support you. But you may not have that much flexibility in the context of government procurement because their rules and regulations are very much strict. Only from that angle they are saying that. But whatever the case is, we need to ensure it is fair. We need to ensure that people trust the process. The stakeholders trust the process. That is what we need to ensure. Here it is talking about, I think, in this case only. Okay, Sohani, the question is in this case. So it is talking about with respect to this only, not the development and usage of medicine, etc. Only in this case, how it will compromise. Okay, in this case, how is medical ethics compromise vested interest? If you follow vested interest, then how you will compromise. So you just need to write the various standards that we have learned in medical ethics and how they are compromised with respect to personal interest. Understood? So fairly easy question. This is actually a fairly easy question. I don't know why did you not respond that you did not find them easy. Both the questions are fairly easy. Anyone who found them difficult? This question difficult, especially we have discussed this question in the context of PIO and everything. Anyone who found it difficult? Difficulty found नहीं किया, जवाब भी नहीं देते, बड़े अतरंगी किस्म के आदमी हो भाई सब. Okay, complex personality. Please note it if you want. जी.
सर मेडिकल एथिक्स को ह्यूमन चैलेंज करके था जो कोविड के दौरान इस्तेमाल होता तो जैसे कल का केस स्टडी था जिसमें लाइक द ट्रायल हैड टू बी एक्सपेडिटेड सम सो कैन ह्यूमन ट्रायल बी अ एथिकल वे फॉर
ह्यूमन ट्रायल तो होगा ही ना, बिना ह्यूमन ट्रायल के.
ह्यूमन चैलेंज जो कोविड में था ना लाइक एक्सपेडाइट किया उन्होंने ट्रायल्स को क्लिनिकल ट्रायल्स को.
एक्सपेक्ट करने का मतलब ये नहीं है कि आप पेशेंट को जबरदस्ती मार रहे हो. It will always have informed consent.
वॉलंटियर किया कोविड के दौरान. So is that an ethical path that you can take? But if let's say the rival collaboration doesn't happen or it's a strike out.
Not a rival, it can be any collaboration. You can partner with academic institutions also, medical research institutions also. It need not be rival only, rival company only. I'm not getting the human challenge.
Human challenge सर कोविड के दौरान जो अलग-अलग वैक्सीन थे उनको उन्होंने बोला कि आप वॉलंटियर कीजिए हम लोग आप पे आजमाएंगे इसको and we'll see the efficacy of the youth. मतलब वो लोग
हाँ, तो informed consent के साथ you can do that. What is the problem in that? But when you are doing that, I mean, it should not be that we will give you 1 crore of rupees if you participate in our human trial. It should not be the case. Suppose pandemic is there and you want to expedite the development of our drugs, then it should not be the case that if you want more people to come forward in terms of clinical trial and everything, that you will give 1 crore rupees to each of you who will participate, because then your decision will be for money. Then it is not a very fair ground on which you are eliciting their consent. Okay, so because that is a very commercial way of doing things. That is exactly treating humans as an end in themselves. Disproportionate amount of remuneration should not be there. That become the main motivation of people to participate. Okay, so that should be the guideline should be there. Informed consent will always be in the picture and should be having free will, and the main intention should be that the person wants to actually help the people or something like that. Money criteria and everything, they should not be the criteria for this. Of course, he should be compensated. It is not to say that he should not be compensated. He should be compensated, but the compensation should not be the main guiding factor. That in ethics, intentions matter a lot. Done? Okay, so next case study is, okay, so you have gone there. It is about courtesy. The next case study is about courtesy. So people have come there. So what are ethical issues? Same thing. Ethical issues are? Yes, it is against code of conduct. It is illegal also because you cannot accept such lavish hospitality and gifts from the people with whom you are having official dealings. That is very, very important. Okay, next slide, folks. Done? So, options you can create, that you can take gifts from the subordinate and not from the influential people, or vice versa. Second option will be like that, or you can accept the gift from both of the people. These are some clever way of generating options. Okay, so what you would do? The course of action will be? Okay, so you will not be taking the gifts, okay, from both the people, both influentials as well as a subordinate, or you will take from subordinate and not from influential. Subordinate तो सर घर के हैं ना सर, तो परिवार तो ऐसे ही बनेगा. Yes, family perspective. Mohsin, what did you write? Reject कर दिया? कैसे? हाँ. Why did you reject from subordinates? They love you so much. You are the new FDM there. See, your subordinate loves you. You know it?
Okay, sir. So I create the earlier we were discussed the option like that, and don't be the cove of the wheels against the main integrity and the law.
That is good, but why did you reject from subordinate? They love you. They respect you.
Nice, sir.
Have you watched Ganga Jal?
Yes, sir.
हाँ, तो लाइन इज देयर. शिकारपुर को इतना भी बैकवर्ड मत समझिए साहब. वो आता है ना वो मिठाई लेके. So what is the point?
Sir, this is not movie, this is real life.
हाँ. Yes, so why did you reject?
Sir, against the code of conduct
हाँ.
and against my integrity, sir.
अच्छा, it is against your integrity. Okay.
Yes, that's why I'm rejecting.
So basically the reasoning for the influential people will be different. Like later on you might have to file case against them. Justice and reciprocity and everything will be there. And with respect to your work culture will be different. That you do not want to set that precedent, and you don't want gifts to define the relationship between seniors and junior. Gifts should not decide. Okay, this should not be the way. And if that is the way, then you should also give them back the costly gifts, if that is the case. If you are receiving the gift, then you should give back the gift. Then only perhaps it can be a fair thing, but of course you should not go towards that. Okay, so basically yes, wrong role modeling and bad precedent, this is what you need to write. The fair argument is the perception of the people. You should not have any potential conflict of interest. Actual is not here, but you should not have any potential or perceived conflict of interest. That is what is important. That is what is important here. Okay, and at the same time, how many of you address the dimension in this case study that you can, because one of the prime argument for taking gifts from the subordinates is that it helps them in team building. So how many of you wrote that there are other ways to build the team spirit? कितने लोगों, because we discussed it. कितने लोगों ने नहीं लिखा ईमानदारी से? Raise your hands. What happened? Why did you not write? We have discussed the exact same case study, I guess. And there I told you that usually these are the arguments that people will give you. That, sir, I mean, you should take gift because it increases bonding and everything, team spirit, we are in this together, we'll go to jail together, everything. So that is how they will be arguing. But your argument would be that there are other ways to, build that trust. It can be celebrating birthdays in your office, cutting the cakes of your subordinate, celebration of Holi, Diwali, festivals, so many 26th and January 15th August, so many festivals are there that you can celebrate with them, doing group activities, any team exercises you can do, sports and games. So there are different ways to inculcate that and helping them in their need, in the genuine need, whenever you have discretion and you can help them. So basically that is what you can do, tackling their grievances also. Addressing their grievances fairly. So that is what you can do as a leader to gain their trust. It need not be gifts. That is what you need. That is what you need to write here. So, दोबारा हाथ करना, कितने लोगों ने नहीं लिखा? I want to see your faces again. Okay. Why? आपने क्यों नहीं लिखा? Oh, instead of taking the gift, she will tell them to donate. Donate to themselves? NGOs. Okay. And how that will help you in terms of bridging the relationship? Because that is the argument that has been given here, that they are here for your friendship. They are here for your friendship. So friendship is not a bad thing actually. Huh? That is good, but see, you must address the argument. You must address that, this thing can be done by other thing also. Why to go for this? That is what you need to address. Very good, Divya. So you must address this part, okay, that there are other ways through which we can do it. And of course, you need to, reject everything. So another, very simple case study that is there. Ethical issue, everyone has written ethical issues. Yes, options that are available to you, very much simple. You take from either of them, both of them, reject both of them, something like that. Yes, rejecting both of them will be the way forward. Maybe you can have symbolic gifts. Okay, maybe you can have symbolic gifts that you can have. Symbolic gifts, books. Okay. That is what. अरे बुक्स वगैरह भाई ले सकते हो, कहाँ तुम जा रहे हो, अब मत लेना, कोई बात नहीं. That is what you can take actually. Okay, symbolic gifts you can take. You can give also. You can give it back also. And that is what you can write, that you will receive symbolic gift and you will give it back also. Okay, so if you are exchanging the symbolic gift, that is fine. Symbolic gifts are like that only, books and everything. It should not be precious. It should not have any money attached to it. For example, when you are posted as a district magistrate and something like that in various districts, what people do if they are having good harvest, they come to you. Suppose if they are cultivating mangoes, they will give you a basket of mangoes. Okay, so having a basket of mangoes is not a bad thing, but you cannot have a truck of mangoes. Okay, so that is how you need to differentiate between symbolic gifts and costly gifts, something that may cost you, something that may give you any pecuniary benefit. That is how you need to differentiate these two aspects. But if you are rejecting those gifts, then it is also crude. It is disrespecting, and that is why your argument is bad, that, sir, I will not even take one mango from the farmer because ship sinks because of water that gets into, as if, mango will, make him corrupt. Something like that. कल एक लक्ष्मण रेखा मैंने देखी, मैं दूसरी नहीं देखना चाहता आज. Okay, so ठीक है, आप मत करिएगा पार. So that is what, you go to tribals, they have a lot of affection for the people. They will give you lot of gifts. Okay, again, the same thing. It should not have lot of pecuniary value, that it is costing you so much. They are giving you sandalwood. काट के sandalwood आपको दे दिया. Okay, so it should not be like that. Of course, the minor things, it should be minor things, something that should not give you money benefit. That, of course, because that is part of hospitality. At times you go there, various dignitaries, that comes to India, we also give them gifts. Lot many presidents and prime minister visit us, so we also give them gifts. Of course, but all those gifts are, yes, they are symbolic gifts. So they are part of that. We also receive gifts when suppose our dignitaries go to outside country. We also receive gifts. So this exchange of gift is part of hospitality. There you need to understand the difference between the intention and the monetary value that you can attach to it. That is what is important. And if you are rejecting them altogether, then also it may create, problem, because it might be disrespectful. It might be disrespectful. How? Anyone who is married here? Okay, no one. Understood. Okay, so that is another aspect is see in code of conduct, what most people do. Suppose they go on foreign trips and everything. Suppose they receive any costly gift, then they will deposit those gifts. Suppose they have received some costly gift. Okay, so what they will do, they will deposit those gifts in Tosh Khana. Okay, the Tosh Khana is there where you can actually deposit those gifts. So that is like that since why you are receiving them? Because you are representative of the government. So those gifts does not actually belong to you. They belong to government. So you are depositing those gifts. So that is another perspective, because you cannot reject the gift that has been given to you by US president. No, I will not take it, because ships sink because of water that gets into them. I learned about it when I was preparing for civil service examination. Suppose you are foreign secretary of the country. Okay, so he will feel bad about you. Okay, so that is what you need to do. Understood? So you can deposit the gift. The usual code of conduct is, suppose you are a public servant and you are receiving gift on the wedding anniversaries, birthday, something like that from your near and dear ones, then of course you should not have any official dealings with them. That is a prime condition, because you should not have any conflict of interest. So you should not have any official dealing with them. If you do not have any official dealing with them, then you can accept some gift, from the near ones, the near relatives, but you must report that to government. That is what is done usually. That suppose a wedding is there, you cannot say that I will not receive gift. Okay, your father will kill you. Okay, so that is what people are doing. So they will report to the authorities that on this occasion, that is what I have got. These gifts I have got. These are these values, and I do not have any official dealing with them. That is what is important. You must not have official dealing, and you are also barred from having lavish hospitality. That is equally important. Okay, the gifts are not just goods; they are services also. Okay, so many people pay in kind, if not in goods. So lavish hospitality is part of that. So you should not enjoy lavish hospitality from someone with whom you are having official dealing. I am telling you all these things because they may be part of your case study in the future examination. Lavish hospitality also you cannot accept from the people with whom you are having official dealing. Of course, casual meal, casual lift, if you are taking from someone, that is not part of it. That should not corrupt your integrity. Casual meal is not part of that. Okay, if suppose I give you some casual meal, then it is not part of any bribe that is there. कि सर आपने तो पहले ही खिला दिया था हमें घूस. Okay, it is not part of that. Understood? Understood? Okay, so let us move to the next case study. Rajesh Kumar is here. Rajesh Kumar is a senior public servant. That is a very good case study actually. Yes? Anjali is confused. Anjali, one thing is that we should not accept costly gift. That is for sure. Especially क्या? This is a general guideline with the people with whom you are having official dealing. That is directly there. Symbolic gift is absolutely fine. The books, memento, what is this? You can always have them, and you can give it back also. I saw it, one of my students, he did it, because usually the officers have this perspective that they will only accept a gift. They have this attitude. Okay, that is what you would also have. When you go to district, you will expect at least some gift should come. If not costly, mango hi aa jaye, kuch nahi hai to. Okay, so people have this attitude that a subordinate should give them gift. So he started this very beautiful tradition, when he was posted as a DFO, I think. So the people, they gave a lot of gifts to him on his birthday. So he also gave, gifts back to them, written gifts. Of course, both the gifts were not costly, but that's a very healthy tradition, because usually the perspective is only of taking, that you will be taking only. But if you give it back, then that is a very, very good thing. Okay, understood, Anjali? Any doubt? Any doubt in gifts? All of you should be clear on that. Any doubt in gifts? आपको समझ में आ गया? You will be rejecting the gift and you will talk about the reasoning. The reasoning from subordinate will be different. Reasoning from the mafia will be totally different. Okay, I mean different reasoning will be there. And last, with respect to subordinate, you will say that how you will build the relationship, how you will cultivate the relationship. That is how you will address that part. No doubts are all clear. Okay, then let us have gifts. Yes.
Can you talk about how the criminal persons actually manage to come into the inner offices of the district administration without any person to stop them?
That I don't think that is necessary here.
The danger or the threat that they bring is because of the proximity.
No. So, I mean, until you have something concrete in your hand, which you will be investigating. So, nothing is there as of now. You cannot stop anyone just on the perception that you should not come to the office. You cannot stop anyone. Can you? It will be against the law.
Using biometrics to actually regulate the people who come in.
Good, you can do it. You can do it. Okay. So I think let us move to this case study. This is a very, very good case study. Okay. So this case study is about utilization of public fund. This case study is about that. Okay. And a very good introduction to this case study will be stakeholder, because there are too many of them. Okay. Too many stakeholders are there. So that is how you will be addressing all these aspects. Stakeholders are important. So how you will be proceeding for it? क्या करिएगा? Question says ethical issues. First part is ethical issues. So I think you can start with the stakeholders. So many stakeholders are there. Rajesh Kumar is here. States are there. The states in which NHS is implemented, and the coal-bound states which are there. Then house scheme beneficiaries are there. The people who are entitled to that. Then MNC is there with respect to the gas grid. PSU is there, who is actually involved in all of this. Benefits of SEGs are there. Then gas grid is there. Respective ministries, whichever is doing this project. Parliament is there because that has sanctioned the budget ultimately for certain demand of grants. Then union government is there because it need to take care of the exports, energy security, and the commitment also, because sovereign guarantee is there. MNC, the project is there. Gas grid project is there. And the politicians who are in the pole-bound state, that is there. So these many stakeholders are there. It's a very complicated case study in a way that so many people are involved. So how many of you started with stakeholder only? Because that is a very perfect way of starting stakeholders, because if you don't write that, then you will be forgetting the ethical issues, what we will be writing, how we will be writing, and everything. Understood? So that is what we should do. So what are the ethical issues in reappropriation? So one thing is the basic necessity is there. Housing is the basic necessity, survival. Right to shelter is part of Article 21. You can talk about the Supreme Court case also. This Olga Telis case. Yes. And also it is part of UN Declaration of Rights. Understood? So it will be going against that also. And also the people who need houses, they do not have access to power in terms of lobbying, in terms of pressure group. They may not have access to power, but the people who are involved in SEGs and the gas grid projects, they have more access to power. So it is a bigger test of the democracy that we should hear, or we should hear the grievances or the opinion of the people who do not have capacity to think. Or do not have capacity to. I think one of the aspects that we have discussed earlier is that we should judge the progress of the nation, how it treats the women, or also at times animals. At some animals is there, okay, that how we treat the animal, because both are vulnerable section, both cannot communicate. Okay, so that is a perspective that is there. So we should be wary of this aspect, because the true test of democracy is that only, that how responsive we are to the vulnerable section of the society who cannot advocate for themselves. Okay, so that is very, very important. Also, the immediate housing need, because housing needs are immediate. All the long developmental goals are bit long-term in nature. All the projects are having long gestation period, but housing needs are immediate. And then capability approach was a trickle down, because the SEG project and everything is part of trickle down mode of development, and capability approach is there. So it may also lead to the inequality and social justice that is there. It is against Talisman and Antyodaya, because the poor people who are involved in this welfare state, against that Article 38 of the DPSP, and Also, the people are promising that from the politician perspective. It is their democratic promise to the voters that is there. And ultimately, it is also about the parliamentary accountability. Because Parliament has sanctioned the demand of ground for NHS. For certain objective, it has sanctioned the ground. Then how ethical it is to change to go for the reappropriation. That is there, and there is moral hazard of slippery slope. Then if you do that, then you can do it again and again and again and again. Okay, and it also highlight the problem that might be there with respect to budgetary process, because it highlights lack of due diligence. Perhaps the anticipation of the demand of the grant was not there. Perhaps people did not anticipate that what should be the demand of grant for the SEG project or the gas grid project. So perhaps there is a lack of capacity, lack of due diligence that is there when you are framing demands of grant. So that is a very, very important ethical issue in the reappropriation. Understood or not? Yes, understood everyone? So we have to think from the perspective of housing, vulnerable sections, democracy, social justice, talisman, inclusive growth, welfare states, preamble social justice also you can write, Supreme Court case, human rights, Article 21, from all those perspectives versus the perspective of democracy, parliamentary control of funding because budgetary exercise is there, okay, and a slippery slope that it may create. Understood? All of you understood the ethical issues that are there? Online wallo? Any doubt? Any doubt in the ethical issues? Understood that how we need to think with respect to the ethical issues? Understood or not? Okay, very well. So what are the options that are there? So you go for the reappropriation as asked, okay, and then no reappropriation, you may resign also because that has been asked. Is resigning a worthy option? Is resigning a worthy option? Okay, so resignation, what are the demerits? We have discussed them. What are the demerits? Virtue approach is there because the legacy is there. The first line is that only reputation of honesty and forthrightness. Okay, so you have built a legacy for yourself. So you be going against that virtue approach. Going against your legacy. Then it does not solve the problem. Someone who will come at your place, he will still face the same problem. Also. Okay, so all these things you can write. Yes? Yes, duty. Okay, duty perspective also you can write. Devotion to duty is not there. Courage of conviction is not there. Yes, I think you can write. Yes? And these are the problem with no reappropriation. If you are not going for reappropriation, then SEG will suffer, exports, employment, state, grid will suffer, energy security must be there, contractual promise is there, and if you are violating that, it might have a cascading impact on reputation because a payment was is supposed to be made, national embarrassment might be there. Okay, so that is quite a big issue. You don't want to do it. Okay, and of course the utilization of public fund in the case of NHS, that is there. Okay, so what we should do in this case? What should be our approach here? How we should approach this part? Now, what are the things that we need to address here? Huh? All the three. Okay, how? What did you address? What are the things that we need to address here? How many of you wrote about a systemic reform that might be required? Because if in the midway, you have been allocated 8,000 crore, more than 8,000 crores are there, yes? And you have only spent 775 crores. Okay, so it is actually talking about the due process. So maybe you need zero-based budgeting as part of budgetary reform. You need medium-term fiscal policy planning. We discussed that. When we were discussing the challenges with respect to utilization of public fund in section A questions, here some points were written toward this part of the slide that MTFP, medium-term expenditure framework, medium-term fiscal policy framework, we need to align. We need to align with that. So those are long-term reforms. So how many of you did not address the long-term reforms here? Systemic reforms that might be required. सबने लिखा है. All of you wrote it. अरे क्या समझूं, लिखा है कि नहीं लिखा है? यार कोई जवाब ही नहीं देता, क्या है? गांधी जी के वो हो क्या बंदर सर, क्या इंस्पायर किया आपने इन लोगों को? जिस दिन से आपने कुछ नहीं बोला है ना, उस दिन से इन्होंने भी सोचा है कि हम ही क्यों बोला है, और बोला रॉन्ग प्रेसिडेंट सेट कर दिया. अरे आप ही बता दो यार ऑनलाइन वालों, कितने लोगों ने लिखा है लॉन्ग टर्म सिस्टमिक इशू? हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू कैन हैव एड्रेस द सिस्टमिक इशू दैट इज देयर? Systemic issue that is there. Systemic issues that is there. Systemic issue is not people model, it's about utilization of public fund, planning for the funds. It is not lack of fund, mind you. You know, midway the problem has come, midway the demand has come. Nowhere it is written. It is only a problem from that perspective. Yes. बताइए. अरे आंसर तो कर दो, कितने लोगों ने लिखा कि नहीं लिखा? प्लीज आंसर. नहीं लिखा तो हाथ खड़ा कर दो, क्या दिक्कत है? आपने लिखा सिस्टमिक इश्यू? इट हैज कम. अच्छा अभी गए. ये स्टडी नहीं करी, ये सबसे अच्छा आंसर है, बेस्ट आंसर. हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू हैव दिस आंसर? सही है. तो लंबी केस स्टडी थी तो कौन करेगा, बिल्डिंग वाली कर लेते हैं. Yes, that is what you did perhaps. ये भी सही है, ठीक है. So ideally that is what you should look at it. Okay, the systemic issue that is there. Okay, so now let us come to the what you should do. Okay, so now whatever you do, one thing is you should always try to balance the need that is there. Okay, that you should always try to find ways. That should be your presence of mind, that should be your endeavor, that you would try to balance all the part. That is, you should try to find ways in order to meet the demand from both housing as well as SEG as well as grid projects that is there. That is the best part that you will do. And for that, what you can do, you can perhaps assess the real need for the housing scheme, because it has allocated lot of money, but only a very insignificant part of the money has been spent. Okay, so that is what, only less than 10% of the money has been spent. Okay, so that is what perhaps you can, reassess that what is the actual need. So you must assess the real need of the NHS that you require in coming months. Okay, and that then you assess that how much money you can free for the reappropriation. So if that money is there, whether it is sufficient or not, you can create a diagram that is there. If it is sufficient, it is good. If it is not sufficient, then you perhaps look at the pole boundary states, because their model code of conduct will be there and everything will be there. So does it have any restriction with respect to that, with respect to expenditure? Because if it is there, then it will save you a lot of money, at least for some month. Okay, so there, is it sufficient, that money is sufficient, or whether you have other schemes, similar assessment with respect to other scheme, because it is not just about NHS. You might have similar schemes that where you have not disbursed lot of funds. You might have other schemes where you have not disbursed lot of funds. So from there also you can get the funds for the SEG and the gas grid. So basically this is nothing but the way to actually just tell the examiner that we are going for more efficient utilization of resources. We are finding different ways. But if you just write that, then you are not answering the case study, you are killing the case study. But that is required because you want to show a presence of mind, you want to show that you will be trying some other method before you want to resort to some extreme method like reappropriation. That will be a method of last resort. That is what you want to convey. Just like in whistleblowing that we do, you want to reduce the need for whistleblowing. Okay, that is because the dot on double effect is there. If you are doing the reappropriation, it might lead to some harm that is there. Okay, so that should be a matter of last resort. So we are actually pursuing other methods, and then if we do not have the sufficient money, what we will do, we will prioritize gas grid over SEG, because in gas grid commitment has been made, the payment is due, but in SEG, so SEG is there. Okay, so for SEG I think the land is not just there. Okay, the process has been started for land acquisition, and land acquisition take a lot of time. Understood? So that is why you can perhaps prioritize the gas grid over SEG. It is not the thing that both the things need money, at once. So here you can talk about this, that perhaps I will prioritize gas grid over SEG because land acquisition, all these things may take time. Okay, so perhaps you don't need that money at this point of time. So you only have two things to worry, that is NHS, sufficiency of fund, and then this. If suppose even for that money is not sufficient, because we need to ultimately address that money is not sufficient, what you will do. Okay, we have tried different ways, but now you must address this part, that what you will do. Then of course you will be going for extra budgetary support, that is there. But when you are going for, you will be following the due process, because you need to ensure there is accountability for that. You need to ensure that parliamentary and monitoring is there. You need to ensure that slippery slope is not created. You need to ensure that similar thing does not happen, and that is why a parliamentary watch should be there over all these things. So that is why token grants approval should be taken from the Lok Sabha or something like that, so that there is parliamentary accountability for whatever you are doing. It is not just you are reappropriating just by like that. There has to be proper monitoring and accountability mechanism for what you are doing. And in long term, you should go for ZBB, that is zero-based budgeting, and multi-year budgeting with a perspective of medium-term framework. Understood? That is what you need to do in this particular case study. Understood? Any doubt that is there with respect to this case study? Any doubt? Any doubt? So how many of you talked about parliamentary accountability and control? At least an ethical issue, if not, in which respect you discussed that? Funds, parliamentary rule. Very good, brilliant. Very good. If you have done that, then it is absolutely brilliant, because now you understand the utilization of public fund, that how actually it has to be spent. It is not an easy way to do that. Very good. So parliamentary, so always when you are going for such thing, you can always talk about that. SEG and everything, private sector, everything that you can explore. That is not an issue, but here it is talking about you must address the fund dispersal ultimately, and you must create all these things. So both these parts are necessary. The long-term reform as well as the accountability mechanism. Whenever you have to take a decision in case, just have this golden rule. Whenever you are making the decision where discretion is there, abuse of discretion might be there, some bad precedent is there, always create more accountability mechanism for yourself. Just have this golden perspective. Understood or not? Automatically your answer will be good. Automatically. That is how you will be showing your ethical side. अंडरस्टूड? मिस हो गया? अच्छा, लिखा ही नहीं आपने तो ये भी सही है. केतन ने तो जुडिशियल डिसीजन ले लिया. इतनी बड़ी केस स्टडी है सर, छोड़ ही देते हैं. ओके. रेजिग्नेशन तो नहीं, रेजिग्नेशन से तो कुछ फायदा ही नहीं है ना, तो सर्विस ही छोड़ रहे हो. डील विद द प्रेशर. प्रेशर का तो रीजन दे ही नहीं सकते आप. How does resignation solve the problem? Just think from that perspective. That will solve the problem. With respect to what? No, not necessary. Not necessary. Why would you be following the command? It depends. I mean, whether it is a legal order or not, because that is what you also have to look at it. Ultimately, you will be accountable. Because if you are enforcing some law, you will be. So you need to ensure that it has to be a legal order. If it is not a legal order, they will be telling you verbally only. They will not give that thing in writing. In case of minister, you are saying yes. Because see, minister is a different thing. You can be minister at any point of time. You can resign. You can again come back. I mean, it is your house, okay? But for bureaucracy, it is not the case. Now we are seeing some example also for that, but usually it is not the case. Once you resign, it is gone. Okay, so, and they also have a lot of attempt at it. They can fight the election after 5 years. What you will do? You will not have CSE again. So for you, resignation is totally different perspective. For minister, it is totally different perspective. Okay, so that is what it is there. Photo you want to take, please take photo. Accountability mechanisms and everything, that is how you should look at it. Done? All of you have filled that Google form that I circulated on the Telegram group? Anyone who has not filled the Google form? Anyone who is not aware of the Google form? Not aware also? Yeah, you don't use mobile phone. Done? Done? So next, last case study is there. Please circulate it. Please write your credentials, no, name, email ID, number. Circulate it amongst you. Please don't use Kharoshti Lipi. Write properly, you know. Sir, what do you mean by parliamentary accountability? You are a good question. Have you solved prelims questions that are there? What is the essence of democracy, parliamentary form of democracy? What is the essence of parliamentary form of democracy? That legislature, the executive is held accountable to legislature. So this accountability is enforced through various ways. You know that the government has to prove the majority on the floor of the house, and also, you know, government all the fiscal rights the government has. You know, the parliament only grants it. You know, for similar way. So that is what I mean by parliamentary accountability. So once the parliament has sanctioned budget, the demand of the grant, you know, that for this purpose you have 8,300 crores of rupees, then you are changing the, you know, the destination without parliament approval, then it will be a wrong thing to do. Okay, so that is what I mean by parliamentary accountability. In democracy, this is what that you should not do. Understood? So let us look at the next case study that is there. This we have done. Or the building that is permitted for, I mean, the question is generic actually. Okay, whatever the UPSC has created, is a PYQ only. Okay, whatever UPSC has created, it is only for the context. So question is very much generic in nature. So what are the reasons for such incident taking place? Reasons, fairly simple. Yes. Business without ethics you can write, prioritizing profit over values, nexus, potential nexus might be there between regulatory authorities and the contractors and builders. Then lack of respect for the rule of law. Attitude of ignorance, risk perception of people is very low. They themselves don't, you know, have their construction as per specifications. Yes, urbanization, population growth, that is there. Then lack of monitoring mechanism, failure of monitoring and accountability mechanism, that is there. Poor construction material, that is there. Illegal construction often, that is there. Unplanned development, that is there. Okay. Crony capitalism might be there. Failure of responsibility on the part of citizenry, because awareness is not there. They are also not demanding reforms. You see, a lot of illegal colonies are there in Delhi, and they are regularized. Time and again, they are regularized by the government only. So basically, it creates a lot of incentive for the people to, you know, build such colonies. You go to Patel Nagar, you know, the area, some areas are like that, you know, the balconies are touching, you know, the two balconies from two different houses are touching each other. I mean, you can greet, you know, and meet people across the balconies. And the people are passing through the street and there is balcony that is covering them. You know, so some areas are like that only. So basically, a lot of regulations are there that have not been followed. So it is also because of people, that people do not have this perception, and all these colonies have been regularized time and again by the government also. So it created a bad precedent, because in the hope of regularization, people build these colonies because they hope that later on will regularize these colonies. Understood? Understood? So I think this part is easy. So what you will do, you know, measures to prevent their occurrence. What you will do? You can approach this question from the perspective of disaster management also. Okay, that what you should do. With respect to hazard and vulnerability analysis should be done. You should identify the risk factors that are there. You want to write? Okay, please write. Hazard and vulnerability analysis for assessment of the risk. Hazard and vulnerability analysis for assessment of the risk. Generating awareness about the risk. Generating awareness about the risk. Details of the past accidents and the disasters and the lessons learned should be in the public domain. Details of the past accidents and disasters and lessons learned, you know, should be documented and kept in public domain. Making urban planning as part of disaster management plan. Making urban planning as part of disaster management plan. Making urban planning as part of disaster management plan. Building bylaws should incorporate disaster resistant features of the building. Building bylaws should incorporate disaster resistant features of the building. simplifications of the guidelines. Simplifications of the guideline so that they can be understood by the common citizen. Because safety codes are usually complex, so that anyone can understand that what is to be done, what should be there. Simplification of the guidelines to be understood by the citizens. Demonstration of setting of building technology demonstration center. Building technology demonstration centers to demonstrate constructions in hazard prone areas. Building technology demonstration centers. Building technology demonstration centers to generate awareness with respect to the construction that is required in hazard prone areas. Okay. Capacity building of local bodies. PPP, FFF, sorry. Fund, functions and functionaries. Capacity building of local bodies, because ultimately they will be monitoring the implementation of the bylaws. They must have fund, function and functionaries to do that. Okay. Third party audit, including social audit. Third party audit, including social audit of the ongoing construction. Third party audit. Periodic inspection by a team of stakeholders. Periodic inspection by a team of stakeholders, assisted by experts. Periodic inspections, either point you can write. Periodic inspection by a team of stakeholders, assisted by experts. Financial tools for risk reduction, insurance. Financial tools for risk reduction. Financial tools for risk reduction. Evaluation of the building, public buildings which are old, for their fitness, and if need be, retrofitting should be done. Retrofitting of the buildings after evaluation, examination. Retrofitting of the buildings after evaluation and examination. Okay. So here what is important is that you should create the guidelines in no uncertain terms at a broader planning level. That is what you should do. After that, what you should do in terms of, you should make those guidelines very much clear to the general public, because they must understand what is there. Okay. Otherwise, people will take things in their own hand. They will not understand that what contractors are doing and everything. Then ensure more accountability by having this stakeholder approach, or the social audit approach, third party approach, so that anyone can verify. Okay. After that, the BTTC, Building Technology Demonstration Centers, are to demonstrate the technology for the general public and also the consequences of the disaster that might be there because of the building, collapsed, something like that. Another part is urban planning. Urban planning is one of the most important part here, because all this demand for illegal construction is because of the demand, that is a huge demand is there, supply is not there. So urban planning failures are there. What are the failures in urban planning? One important failure is that we often exclude peri-urban areas. When we make the urban planning, we exclude peri-urban areas, and there the growth is unregulated. Okay, so the nearby areas you will see the growth that is unregulated, illegal structures will be there, and then you have to regularize them because a lot many people who are living there. So that is one aspect. And local body is very, very important here, because urban planning is responsibility of that. All of you know district planning committee, metropolitan planning committee are basically constitutional bodies that are there. So they are actually mandated to prepare plans, but they don't exist. And there is some flexibility of nominating people who are not elected. Some reservation is there, some flexibility is there. So that flexibility is usually to appoint people who are having professional expertise in planning. Okay, that is the reason for that flexibility. I mean, that is the true, one of the true utilization of that you have people who are experts in planning. So you use them when you are making the plan. But usually the plans are basically amalgamation of this planning exercise from different departments. That you are asking the different departments submit their plans, and you will just club them and submit them as plan. But this is not exactly how urban planning works. You need to actually talk about a plan at a macro level. That you should have a perspective. This is what you want to attain. You should have building by zones. The zoning regulation should be there in different parts of the city. That this is how the center business district will grow. This is how no-go zones will be there. So building, zoning regulation should be there, and they should be enforced. Enforcement is another angle. So there you are not just relying on the officers. You are, of course, building the capacity of the local body in terms of FFF so that they can enforce the guideline. But you are also having participation of the people so that you are ensuring that the regulations are not flouted. That is also equally important. And financial risk reduction should be there. Insurance should be there. Insurance is what we should aim for. So understood? So what we are doing, we are addressing different part of the problem at planning level, at institutional level, at capacity building level, at people level, at accountability level, at technology level. So that is how we are addressing, and that is how we want to address this problem. Understood? Everyone understood? So that is what you can do when we are talking about this. Any doubt online walo with respect to this? Any doubt that is there? Any doubt that is there? No doubt is there? Okay. Okay, so I think that's it. Two things are pending from my side. One thing is the brainstorming questions that are there that I will do. Okay, let me see how I will do it, but I will do it. Okay, maybe I will have a Zoom session with all of you. During that, I will discuss the doubt, and also I will discuss that. And Ash Srivastav copies. Okay, can you please talk about the intro in this question? So the intro can be general because this is a GS question only. Okay, this is GS question only. So you can always say that such complex problem required coordination and cooperation amongst all stakeholders. So you can start by identifying a stakeholder in this, local bodies, people, contractors, because ethical issues will be on the part of them. So this question can have the introduction with respect to stakeholder. I'm discussing that. Okay, so one part is pending, that is the brainstorming question that were there. So either we will have a Zoom session or I will do something for that. I will definitely discuss that today because we had to prepone the operation, so I did not get time to go through that. Okay, so that's what I will do. Ash Srivastav copy, I will make a YouTube video, and that's what I will do. Okay, FLT full length test I will announce. Okay, today I was caught up with all these things. So probably tomorrow I will announce the full length test. Okay, and there will be flexibility in that. In offline there will not be flexibility, but online there will be flexibility. You can write that at your home and then you can submit it also. Okay, any other thing that is there? Revision strategy is that you first please revise whatever we have discussed. Don't read any other thing because you already have lot of content, but you are not using that in your answer. So theory part you should go through it again. All the 14-minute test you should go through it again. Okay, you should practice it. If you don't want to write it again, that's fine, but you can just brainstorm over it. You can just approach the question from that fashion that in 5 minutes you will just dump all the important points so that you have pressure while you are doing the brainstorming and everything. Okay, so that is what you should do. First the theory part, second part is mini test. This is what you need to revise bare minimum. After that you can explore the other PYQs. Don't go for any other thing. Explore the PYQs first. Finish those PYQs first. Okay? So please give enough time for FLT, then giving surprise dates. Too much of empowerment is there at times, I feel. Okay. Yes.
Sir, I just needed one clarification. So we have already discussed a lot of ethical dilemmas, but it was also mentioned, I think, that there would be a list of ethical dilemmas that would be discussed. Right? I think. Could you clarify if we should just
have you revised the theory? Have you revised the theory? So one topic was ethical dilemmas in public administration and private institution. What did we discuss in that topic?
The various dilemmas that a functionary would face in life.
So what was there in the PPTs, if you remember? What was there in the PPTs? Ethical dilemmas in government institution, public institution. So there was something on the PPTs. What was it? Here? Okay, dates I will give. I need to discuss. See, I haven't got time to discuss with respect to the availability of the classroom. 10 days is that you want, or 7 days you want for full length test. 10 days. Okay, so 10 days and then gap of 3 weeks and then another test. That is what you want. Okay, so that is what we will have. Exact date I will announce because I need to see the classroom availability. Okay, so that is what I will have. Yes, there is no surprise with respect to the announcement of the dates. We will have this after 10 days. And then after 3 weeks, we'll have another second round of full length test. Okay, that is what we will have. Any other doubt? Concise notes after revision. See, concise notes should be made only after you have gone through the content at least 5 to 6 times. Because if you go for the concise note at this point of time, you will be writing everything actually. Okay, and if you have made the concise note at this point of time, after prelims, you will not recall, with what perspective you wrote those, concise notes. So it is better that you revise it multiple times, and perhaps after prelims, you can make just those, all those notes. In 7 days, you can revise all the aspect of ethics. In 7 days, you can make the concise note. That will be more worthy exercise, but if you have revised it already 7-8 times, then you can make the concise note as of now. The only criteria is that as soon as you are looking at the keyword, you should be able to recall the content that is there. Okay, that is the only criteria, because that is what is the meaning of concise note. It should be keywords only. How students will submit full length test in your portal, there will be option to upload. So that's how you will submit the full length test. Availability of the ClassVision portal, it is after 1 month from the last class. So it is 4th of December. So I think 28th December, it is showing on the portal because we were supposed to complete our class on 20th of November. But I will ask them to increase it. Okay, so we will have 4th January as the last date with respect to the availability of the videos. I will ask them to increase it by 4th January. Any other doubt? अब मंगा लीजिए ये लिख दिया आपने सब जो दिया था आपको. I will not be evaluating the copies. Almost the same questions are there. Only some questions I've included. Some questions I've included here. Okay, all of you have filled that part. Filled the. Any other thing that you want me to address? 2 things. The 2 remaining things I will do. Definitely I will do. Don't worry. Just give me these 4 or 5 days. I need to see with the other things, and then I will do. Any other thing?
Sir, why don't we have one more class for the installment test and I'll just do evaluation?
We will definitely have class, but maybe not in offline mode, maybe in Zoom class mode. That is what we will have.
सर आप हम सबको कुछ बोलना चाहेंगे? Yes sir.
Can we submit full length test and forward? That Udit I need to see, okay, because I need to see that. That flexibility I will give you, that till what time you can submit the test. I will tell you that. Please submit the test and revise. Revision is important, please revise, okay. So before I finish this batch, the first thing is apology from my side, because I believe at times I was harsh towards some of you, okay, pretty much straight with respect to things. I was harsh, so apologies, okay, so please don't mind. So that is something, okay, so just understand that it was never intentional and it was never personal. It was always with the best intention for you only. The frustration that you have to go through with respect to me is with respect to the kind of expectation I have from you, okay, because I am a bit passionate about these things with respect to the commitment and everything. That is the only reason, because there is, you are master of your own destiny ultimately, okay. There is only limited thing that I can do, but whatever I can do in that limited way, I wanted to do it, okay. So all those things are with respect to that. So please, the Dr. Saab is not here, so some personal apologies due to him also, because I made fun of him so many times. So that is there, okay. So apologies due. Another part is many of you have been quite consistent in the practicing of test in terms of attending the discussions and everything. And I'm very, very sure you would have seen a lot of improvement in your answer writing. If you see your first day test and now, you will see a lot of changes are there in terms of thinking, how you are approaching the case study now, how you are breaking down the case study, how you are breaking down the questions. So I'm sure it would have helped. But if you revise it, I think twice or thrice more in next coming 1 month, you will see lot of steep changes in your thinking, because then everything will be integrated. Okay, so do that. That 3rd or 4th round of revision is very much necessary at this point of time, because when you do that, you will learn a lot more. If you postpone it to after prelims, you have to start it from the beginning only. So please do it now only. Just another 10-15 days for ethics, maybe only 2 hours, maybe 1.5 hours. That is what is required. I mean, you should not give it 3 hours or 4 hours, something like that. Only 1 hour, 1.5 hour, 2 hour, only that much you need to give, but give that time. Okay, you will reap the dividend, because right now you have invested already so much, everything is there in your brain, you just need all those interconnections, and that thing will be there when you do another round of revisions. Okay, and then go through the PYQ. Don't go for another round of test series questions and here and there. Don't go there. Okay, because I mean, you can go for them only when you have gone through the PYQs first. So that is very, very important. PYQs you go through first. After the test is number one priority. After that PYQs, and after that any other test that you want to give. See, already we have done 14-minute test. That is roughly translate to 5 full-length tests. 2 full-length tests we are having. So 7 full-length tests you are writing. I believe that is more than sufficient answer writing on ethics. But still, if you want to do more, prefer PYQs than any coaching answers or questions. Okay, that is what I will advise you. And don't take prelims lightly, that is equally important. Okay, and also don't start prelims preparation in December, not required. Okay, it is almost a game of chances after a point of time. So 5 months is more than sufficient time. You will not create more chances for you if you prepare for prelims in December. January, you will have lot of time. If you are very much confident for your prelims, third attempt, fourth attempt, something like that, then maybe you can study your mains preparation for January also. Maybe 2-3 hours you can give to prelims, rest of time for mains, and slowly you can give more time to prelims and then reduce your mains time. That is what you can do if you are comfortable with the prelims. But December, you should give for mains only. What else is needed? Keep practicing, okay, keep practicing, keep making notes, and if you were to prioritize between 2 things, that is doing the answer writing and practicing and making the notes, make the notes, cover the syllabus that you have not covered so far, because after prelims it should be more about answer writing. I think we have discussed that part, that should help you more. Okay, so that is what is desired. Any other thing that you want me to address? Another thing, Telegram group will remain open. Okay, so after the course we will remain connected. Of course, you should maintain the discipline that you have maintained. Okay, I always want that group to remain open. Okay, it was always the case, but in my original Telegram channel I stopped the discussion because many people do all the useless comment and affects me mentally. Okay, so I don't want that. So that is the reason. So if I see that, I will definitely block it, because okay, so till now you have been quite disciplined, so please maintain that, and you can definitely ask your questions there. I will try to respond. We will have Zoom sessions. Definitely we will have Zoom sessions. We did not have. I will circulate that form again for another round of doubts, because now you will be revising it again. Other doubts might be there. Then we will have Zoom sessions. Okay, in that Zoom session I will discuss the remaining brainstorming question and every other thing. So we will definitely have Zoom session, that is for sure. Not necessary, I mean not required. See, if you practice, let's say 1000 case study, it will not help you 1000 times, because you also have limited time. You have practiced enough. You just need to now see more pattern. We have already started identifying the pattern now. If you still are not able to see the pattern, please revise again. It will not help you to perhaps solve another 50 case studies. What is important is that you identify a pattern, you learn that pattern of thinking, that is more important. Understood? Okay, any other thing? That I will stop the new joining definitely. How we can reach out to you if you face some issue regarding ethics? I think I've discussed that in Telegram group also. You can ask, and my email ID is Piyush Kumar UPSC. I write P-E-E, not P-I. It is Piyush Kumar UPSC @gmail.com. Okay, P-E-E-Y-U-S-H Kumar UPSC. It is Piyush Kumar UPSC. Okay, P-E-E-Y-U-S-H Kumar UPSC @gmail.com. Code-based question, can we refer any more books? See, not required, because how many codes you can prepare? What you need to learn is how to tackle the code. That is what you need to learn. See, and it also disproportionate. You already do not have a lot of time when you are answering ethics question. Already time is limited. So probably 2-3 questions you will always be compromising. So what is the point of reading, more codes? It will not help. Those codes may never come in the examination. What is required? You learn how to tackle codes that we have already discussed so many times. That is what is needed to be done. Capability approach. Any other thing? For next 3, 4, 5 days, I might not be available in terms of answering, because the surgery is there and lot of things are there. After that, I will respond. Any other thing? I will discuss Ash Srivastava answer. Probably I will make a YouTube video on that. Any other thing that you want me to discuss? Nothing. Okay then, I wish you all the best. May all of you, emerge victorious and keep working hard. What is most important is to have satisfaction from the process. Result will follow, Have that satisfaction that you have given your best. Okay, some of you are really, really good. Others will become good when they work hard. So don't stop here, okay? Don't stop here. Keep working hard and you will just get there, okay? Okay, bye-bye, take care.